Do you want to lose weight but struggle to stay committed to a meal plan because you constantly feel hungry? Does food provide you with comfort when you are bored, angry, lonely, or sad? If so, you are in the right place. My name is Kristen Jones, and I'm a life coach specializing in emotional eating and weight loss, and I'm also a lifelong emotional eater. I want to provide you with information, motivation, and support so you too can learn to manage your issues with food and develop a healthy relationship with yourself. Welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast.
All right. Well, welcome everyone to the first Breakthrough Emotional Eating Podcast number 1. And our topic today is the secret sauce to losing weight and keeping it off forever. I'm Kristen Jones, and I am the owner of Kristen Jones Coaching, and I run the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Facebook group, and that's where we are live right now. And today, in this first episode, I am going to be talking about why diet and exercise alone is not enough to lose weight and to keep it off. We're also going to talk about the part of your body that must change first before anything else can happen when it comes to losing weight and keeping it off. The very simple step to follow every morning and at night to impact your weight loss. And finally, the one statement, actually there's more than one, but just one statement that you need to be making in order to lose weight and to keep it off. So again, I'm coming to you live from the Breakthrough Emotional Eating Facebook page. If you are not, or group, if you are not a member and you're listening to this on the podcast, I'd love to have you join us. Please go to www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough. And please join us in the group. It is filled with an incredible community of individuals who support each other in managing emotional eating as well as losing weight and keeping it off, and getting through the struggles and the successes of losing weight. So now, before I get started on the episode, I want to do a couple of shout outs to some members from the group. First, I want to recognize Lorena. Lorena is 5 weeks into her session of Breakthrough Emotional Eating, and she is not only losing weight, but she is discovering things about herself, things about her relationship with herself that are truly moving the needle in all areas of her life. She is taking the information that she's learned and how great she feels to be just the best mom, the best coworker, the best just client and manager at her job, everything. It's impacting all areas of her life. And I'm so incredibly happy for her, for the changes that she's making. And Lorena, I'm so proud of you. Keep going. And secondly, I want to recognize Lynette. Lynette started working with me just a few weeks ago. And about a week and a half in, she was presented with having to go on a vacation, having to go to a family event. And usually you'd like to be a little farther in kind of getting your routine down when you decide that you're going to go on a family, some sort of family vacation. And she just embraced it and went and had a strategy and had a plan for every day. She continued to post in the group and get that accountability and get that support. And in turn, she was able to come back, and she recognized one of the two things she learned that were so important was that she needs exercise just for her own peace of mind, and that water is so important. So she's learned a couple of really important lessons and has gotten right back into the swing of things and is actually down even less now than when she left. So that's really, really exciting. So congratulations, ladies. Keep up the great work. So today, on today's episode, the first episode, we are going to talk about there are so many diets, or so many things that you're presented with in your news feed, in your inbox. diets, quick fixes, things that guarantee, 21 days and lose 10 pounds. And there's all of these things out there that can be really, really tempting when you are looking to lose weight, because oftentimes we get into that kind of that panic mode where we really want the weight to come off immediately. And it's really important to recognize that there are all these things out there, but there's one thing that most of the time, most trainers, coaches, weight loss gurus don't address. And they strictly focus on the diet and the exercise part. And there's a huge piece that can't be neglected. And that is the part that falls right between your ears. And if you do not address the mindset, your mindset, and your thoughts about yourself and who you are as a person, and why you're actually wanting to lose weight, if you don't address that first, then you're going to have a pretty steep uphill climb. It's really, really important to recognize that there's three things we absolutely have to do when we seek to lose weight. And these also go along with emotional eating, because so much of emotional eating, so much what comes along with emotional eating is weight gain. And so when we want to lose weight, we have to address the issues of emotional eating as well. So the three things that we need to do to get not only our emotional eating, but also our weight loss in check is we have to focus in on the mental game. The mental game is so important. And there are three things that we absolutely have to do. The first thing is we have to get our mind right. And that means understanding how our brain works. The second thing is we need to start believing in ourselves. And the third thing is you have to remind yourself every day why you're wanting to lose weight and why you need to have that in your life, why you are deserving of that. So it's really, really important. The first thing we're going to address is the getting your mind right. And when we want to get our mind right, that means we need to understand how the brain works and how our brain works in the way of decision making. Our brain is integral. We have two parts of our brain. And if you have, as being a member of the Breakthrough community, you know an awful lot about the two brains that we have, and we have more than the two brains that we focus on, and that's the primal brain and the prefrontal cortex. And our primal brain, super necessary for survival, but it really likes to keep us happy, and that means it wants to give in to instant gratification. And then we have the other part of our brain that is more of the planning brain, and that's the brain that wants to have us long-term planning, wants us to lose weight, wants us to have all of those amazing things that come along with that. And so what we need to do is you have to understand how the brain works and how you are able to control your brain, and how you, by knowing how to control your brain and knowing that you ultimately have the power to make the decisions about every single thing that you put into your mouth, you have the power to do that. And when you recognize that, that's when everything really starts to change. So I want to tell you a quick little story about my client, Leanne. And Leanne was in our group going live a couple of weeks ago. And one of the most poignant things that she said, and she has told me personally that one of the things that was most powerful for her was, yes, she was extremely happy with her weight loss and extremely happy with going down, 2 sizes and just feeling amazing. But what she realized was, she recognized that she had control of her brain. She got to make the decisions about how she felt, and she got to make decisions about what she was going to eat. Her brain didn't tell her what to eat anymore. She told her brain what to do. And that was the most powerful thing for her, and something that she will not ever forget. And it was the game changer for her. So again, in summary, you want to make sure that you learn how to harness the power that your brain has, understand how it works, and then utilize that in every opportunity at every part of your day to make the best possible choices that are going to serve you and they're going to serve your body. The second thing is you need to start believing in yourself. And believing in yourself really comes from, again, back to our brain, and our brain always wanting to protect us. And our brain always gives us that worst case scenario. It always is wanting to be very protective of us and wanting to make sure that we always are prepared for any bad thing to happen, because it wants us to survive. And so consequently, most people have ingrained negative thought patterns in their brain, and we have to change that. And we collectively, you, me, we have the power to do that in every single moment of every single day. And that is by changing the words that you speak to yourself, and the words that you say, and how you handle when things don't go the way you want. And it all comes back to that positive self-talk. So I'm going to just a quick little story about where that came from. I was on a trip to visit my cousin in Oregon it was about 15 years ago. And she and her partner showed myself and my mom and my sister the movie. And if you, back in the day, I don't know if you remember, I've read the book, but some of you might not know, there was a DVD that went with the book, The Secret. And she showed us that DVD, and it was basically the book in video form. And I was blown away, because this was never a concept that I had ever learned, that I was ever taught, that I did not know anything about the power of my mind, the power of the brain, visualizations. And if you remember last week on the Facebook Live, I spoke about visualizations and about how it had worked for me when it came to when I was a teacher, and how it can be used every single day. But there's so many aspects of the law of attraction and thinking positive thoughts, and thinking those positive thoughts that are going to serve you, and putting out what you really want to have happen. And that is that belief in yourself. And that comes from just a day in and day out commitment to watching what the thoughts are that you have, and changing them and making little tweaks to them, so they end up serving you in a positive way. And the last thing that really absolutely needs to happen if you're going to lose weight and you're going to keep it off is you have to remind yourself every single day why you want to lose weight, and that you deserve it, and that you're worthy of that happening. And that is something that most people forget. They don't remember to reinstill and really build themselves up from the bottom up, because weight loss is great when it's happening and everything's going smoothly. But when things don't go smoothly, and this is true in life, it's how we handle things when they're not going smoothly. That's where the rubber meets the road. And that's where we really can see, and we can really make changes in our lives, when we can decide and figure out how to overcome and how to address things when they don't go necessarily the way we want them to go. And unfortunately, what most of us do is we beat ourselves up, and that doesn't serve anyone. And negative thoughts and telling yourself that you can't do something, if you tell yourself that, I absolutely guarantee you that you won't be able to do whatever it is. So if you tell yourself that you can't lose weight, you're not ever going to. And if you tell yourself that you'll never keep, that phrase, I never keep the weight off, I always gain it back, those have to be eliminated from your speech. You have to let those, you absolutely have to get rid of those, because when those infiltrate into the way you think, they infiltrate the way you act, and they're all the way into your core of who you are. And you have to have that part built up, and that has to be a foundational piece to be able to move in a positive direction when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to keeping weight off, and when it comes to any aspect of your life. Any changes you want to make, we have to have that established. So one of the what I require, and I say require, it's strongly encouraged, all of my clients, anyone who works with me, and I would recommend this to anyone, is in the morning, right before before you get out of bed, do some journaling and affirmations, positive affirmations. If you can come up with 5, they vary from day to day for me, but 5 is usually a good strong number of affirmations about yourself, about who you want to be. Speak them in the present tense, and build yourself up, build that foundation up. And that's going to change how you interact not only with others during the day, but also with yourself. So as I promised you, I was going to tell you there was going to be one thing that I wanted to give you at the end of our podcast, and that was I want to give you the one written statement that is a game changer. And I want, if you have a piece of paper, if you have something to write on, write this one down. And I want to make sure I get it right. So each day, I want you to write down these words: I love my life and I deserve to be happy. I am worth this effort. So when you are trying to do anything, but particularly if you're trying to deal with an issue of emotional eating or you're trying to lose weight, that needs to be what you say to yourself and what you write down. There is incredible power in getting thoughts from the brain through your hand and onto the page, and that rewrites and retrains those positive thoughts in your brain and ingrains those positive thought patterns. So again, it's I love my life and I deserve to be happy. I am worth this effort. And that will take you, and that will drive you and build you up and take you through to where you want to get to when it comes to your emotional eating, when it comes to losing weight. So I really want to thank you again for being here, for coming on if you're on Facebook Live, thank you so much. I'm going to have to figure out how to get so I can see the comments, so I can interact with you during the show. If you're listening to this on a podcast, I absolutely want to see you come into the group. I will put the link into the show notes for this podcast. But what I would really love from all of you is, if you found this content to be helpful, I'd love for you to, again, join the group. If you're already in my group, if you're a member of my group, please let me know what is the step that you're ready to take and commit to. Which one of these 3 things can you do, can you commit to? Some are a little bit easier than others. So remember, our 3 things were getting our mind right, learning about how our brain works, reinforcing and believing in yourself, start believing in yourself. And then lastly, making sure that you remind yourself every day that you're worth this effort. You are worthy of anything that you put your mind to. So which one of those things are you able to commit to? And if you're able to commit to all 3, even better. You can put those in the comments of the Facebook Live. So again, thank you so much for joining me today for this inaugural the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. My name is Kristen Jones. Thank you so much again for joining me, and I will see you again next week. Thanks.